The battlefield was strewn with the bones of the dead and their weapons, each of them going into this battle of their own free will. The archer lies in a pile of bones with the bow in his hands, which he relied on for the rest of his life. The magician lay sprawled on the bones with a broken staff lying next to him, wanting to learn the secret of this place. The alchemist, sitting with a broken potion on the ground, sought to understand this world. The killer, who decided to go there for profit, lies dead, having dropped his dagger. The warrior let go of the broken two-handed sword that had defended his comrades to the last. The hero walks towards the light in the passage. Unlike them, he was able to reach this place through blood, sweat, and sacrifice. "I finally got here after 99 tries," he said, as he walked into the light-filled hall. Guards with various weapons fill the hall, guarding it. The hero concentrates his magic in his hands. Forming his scythe in his hands, he goes towards the army of guards. They notice the hero and activate to protect the hall. The guard with a one-handed sword is the first to rush at him, swinging. He hits the hero standing on the bridge with great force. During the strike, the protagonist climbs onto his blade. He uses the Death Seal skill on the guard he is fighting. The Seal of Death appears above the guardian's head. The hero runs quickly, first along the sword and then along the hand to his neck. He quickly makes a slash with his scythe across the guard's throat. His throat almost bursts from the swing of the hero's scythe. The hero falls down, confident that his skill will work after the blow is dealt. The Death Seal begins to activate, glowing menacingly above the guard's head. The seal strikes again, so powerful that it rips his neck apart and his head falls from his shoulders. The hero bounces off the guard's hand and flies towards the others. The guards immediately notice his silhouette, much smaller than them. The hero prepares to make a powerful strike with his scythe, and at the same time he uses the skill, Night of Death. Impenetrable darkness covers the hall, so that even the guards cannot see anything in it. The hero slashes at the guards who don't know where he is. His blow tears both the first guard into two parts, as well as the second one standing in front of the first guard. After the blow is completed, the hero finds himself in the sights of the guardian archer, who had prepared the shot in advance, not giving him a chance to breathe. The Reaper barely managed to dodge the shots, they only managed to tear his black cloak. Ice and fire shots flew at the hero in a continuous stream. Deciding that he also needs to hit continuously, he uses the skill Acceleration. Having increased his speed many times, he flies with a strong jerk, closing the distance with the guardian archer. His speed is so great that with his movements he creates many illusory copies. The archer loads his bow with multiple fire arrows and fires them. All the arrows hit only the copies of the hero, which immediately crumbled. "It will be difficult for you to hit me," the hero says confidently, grinning. He sighed in surprise and discovered a trap. The magic circle installed on the floor was activated, leaving no chance for salvation. The magic in the circle worked and an ice column burst out of it, securely imprisoning the hero in its shackles. The hero, frozen in ice, looks into the distance in fear. The guard approaches the huge ice pillar menacingly. He swings his mace with the intention of smashing the hero along with the ice. The hero has no choice but to use one of the strongest skills, Moonlight of Destruction. The wave of power emanating from it cut right through the column of ice. Then the wave passed to the guard and, breaking through, tore him in half. The column of ice began to collapse, freeing the hero. "It was close," he said breathlessly. "Even I would have suffered if we had collided head-on. This fight will last forever if I fight them one-on-one. I will finish this with one blow," he said, as he prepared to finish them. The guard archer prepares to shoot fire arrows at him again. The guardian mage prepares to use combat magic against him again. The hero, overflowing with energy, gets into a stance for a better swing. Using the skill Moonlight of Destruction again, he prepares a very strong blow. The hero performs a move called Blood Moon and strikes with an extremely wide stroke, cutting through all the guards in front of him. All the guards were torn in half and fell to the ground. "At last they were finished," he said with relief, surrounded by the dismembered guards. "Well, it's time to see what the guards were protecting," said the hero as he entered the passage. He walks, striding differently into the empty hall, his steps echoing. "What is this place?" the hero said in surprise. Before him appeared a temple, enveloped in a light blue light. "Should I go through this door, or will someone appear from there?" the hero thinks, standing in front of the door. Having decided to enter, he steps into the circle in front of the door and the hero is enveloped in golden light. "Will I be able to finish the game?" The hero thinks about this, standing at the door. A message appears in front of him saying that he has reached the boss room and that 5 players are required to open it. The hero realizes that he won't be able to get to the boss in any way, since he is alone. The system accepted that he was entering, but since he was alone, it decided to kill him by trapping him in a barrier. Cursing loudly, the hero tries to break the barrier while the countdown is in progress, but to no avail. He is surprised that everything will end so stupidly that his efforts were in vain. Watching his body disintegrate, the hero could not believe it, and watched in silence. At the end, he simply cursed and disappeared. The system said that he died and fulfilled the conditions for activating the time reversal rune. He will return to the very beginning, the last 100th time, a temple next to which a huge crowd of people are counting down the time until the new year. The main character appears again in the past, in his own body. Slowly, he realizes that he has returned to the past. He looks at his hands in surprise, fully aware that he is back. His hands are shaking, and he himself remembers that now is the time when he was drawn into the game. Gathering his will into a fist, even though he wanted to stop time now, he pulled himself together. The protagonist is obliged to try again, especially on his last try. With full confidence in his eyes, he decides to begin this attempt. Taking off his hood, he intends to gather 4 more people into his group. Looking around, he searches for someone to team up with in order to get to the boss. A few minutes before the main character returns, the guy watches the crowd with displeasure. Some people are happy that they will become adults and that they will not need false documents. Another person was thinking about what he should do after graduation. This man asks young Nim what he will do. He replies that, as he said before, he wants to become a gangster. They tell him that the undertaking is extremely risky and he can die peacefully, but he doesn't care. They call him crazy, and he decides to break up with them after graduation. Afterwards, the guys ask him what he will do with the main character after graduation. Young Nim replies that he won't let him go, and the others feel sorry for him. He decides that he will keep the hero as his toy for as long as possible. Suddenly, one of the crowd notices the hero and tells Yon about it. Yong turns around and sees the hero in the crowd of people. He confirms that this is the one in question. During the report, Yong sees a blue aura around the hero, the moment when he returns to his body. Yong was surprised and did not understand what was happening to him. Afterwards, the hero lowers his hood, thinking about something. The hero looks towards Yong with a thoughtful look. He begins to notice that something is wrong with the hero, that everything is strange. "Have you completely lost your fear, and why is he staring at me like that?" Yong said irritably. But they tell him to leave him alone, since it's New Year. Yong says that the hero can live peacefully today. Everyone is happy and congratulates each other on the New Year. "People are so funny, celebrating the New Year without knowing what situation they are in," said a female voice unexpectedly, which everyone paid attention to. The angel girl appeared above the people, among the golden light that breaks through the clouds. "It's like looking at monkeys in a cage," she said, looking around at the entire crowd in the square. People look up and think it's all part of the show and decoration. So she appeared. Even after all the times, it's still disgusting, the hero thought, looking at her. Laughing slightly, she says that she amazed them with her beauty. Later, she said that she had no desire to get involved with people. Smiling wryly, she claims that their reaction simply shows that they hear her. One person began to get very indignant and ask her questions. The hero felt ashamed of the man's speech, which was becoming more and more scattered. Angel's face didn't change in shock. "Irritating little man," she said with extreme irritation. A moment later, the man's head shattered into bloody pieces. The contents of that guy's head fell on one person. He starts screaming in fear. The crowd itself is in a panic from what happened. Yong, paralyzed with fear, could only ask what the hell that was. "How dare a puny human speak to a higher being like that?" the angel said with extreme malice and arrogance. The frightened crowd listens to the angel speak about her superiority over them, and they just need to listen to her, without asking questions. The angel hovered over the crowd, looking at the people, bathed in golden light. The hero is not happy that he has to listen to the angel's explanations again for the 100th time. She announces a game that will take place for the participants on the 1st of each month, for 20 months, and they will be transported to another dimension to play. They will need to complete one quest per month, after which they will be able to return with rewards until the next round. People are discussing everything that the angel told them about the game. Angel adds that not everyone will survive, but only half from each quest. The hero again listens to everything she says, even though he already knows about it. The rest of the people are again in shock that half of the people will die. "But don't worry, I won't take everyone," she added to the rest. The man wanted to ask again, but they quickly shut him up, afraid of what she would do to them. The angel says that he will only take people aged 15 to 29, but the hero did not think that he would hear all this for the 100th time. "I am not passing through, I am saved," says the elderly man, rejoicing at this. The young guy gets furious about this and grabs the older man in anger. Yon yells at the guy who grabbed the older man, telling him to shut up for fear of what might happen to them. The angel looks down on the crowd and pronounces that the number of participants is about 2 billion people. After explanations and calculations with a smile on her face, she transports everyone to another space. The hero finds himself in an empty space. He has ended up here many times and ended up here again, for the 100th time. Right now you are in space and cannot see each other. The angel's voice echoes throughout the room where the hero is. Standing in front of the mirror, the hero needs to create an avatar for transfer. As soon as the hero touched the mirror, a voice said that they had to choose carefully. They had one chance. He decides to do everything as before, without any changes. After setting up his avatar, he chooses the nickname Black Scythe. After all the choices and settings, he is transported to a new world. Sunny, slightly cloudy weather, a beautiful green field, mountains in the background. This is the new world they were sent to. The hero appears in a world in which he is again for the 100th time. He appeared in this world in simple clothes, which were not his original ones. The avatar is like a native to him, since he has been using this appearance since the 12th attempt. Other people are starting to appear who have made avatars of their own free will. Black Scythe thinks that looking beautiful here is stupid. After all, in this world, the strongest survives, and the beautiful will die very quickly. And if you die here, you will die in the real world. In any case, the time has almost come, the hero thinks, turning to the side. He's here, Huang Young-min, thinking Black Scythe as he looks at him. This time he chose the muscular body again, the hero thought, turning away awkwardly. The angel appears again and says that she enjoys watching their faces contort in fear, and notes that about 1,800,000 have been transported. 1,800,000? It doesn't look like there are that many of us here, one of the people says to the angel. As expected from insignificant people, the angel says haughtily. Do you think this is the only dimension? She said, extremely irritated. The angel began to tell them how to open the status window. Just think, and it will appear. And that's what our hero did. A large window of golden light appeared in front of him, showing his name, nickname, level, rank, his characteristics and skills. If you've played games before, you've realized how insignificant you are now, says the angel hovering above them. Get stronger and you'll make it through 20 rounds, she says. Adds that if they survive and pass 20 rounds, they will be able to fulfill one of their wishes. People were a little inspired when they heard about the wish coming true. The angel tells people to look in the inventory. She has prepared a gift for them. Yang opens the inventory and looks at what's inside. He sees inside a fragment of a random rune that the angel left there. She says that it is usable at level 1 and that it is the only item they have. He takes the fragment in his hand and uses it, breaking it. His hand is enveloped in red light and the rune merges with it. The angel, observing people, says that she noticed from their faces that not everyone got a good rune. It was a matter of luck. With the rune binding complete, it was time for the show to begin, she said, snapping her fingers. A panel appears in front of all people, with a quest to kill goblins. Only half of all participants can pass. Suddenly, a goblin with a blade appears in front of them. People are surprised that it's really a goblin, and everything looks so much like a game. You don't have to worry, not all the goblins have been summoned yet, says the angel, calling forth a huge army. People are shocked by the number of goblins that are still being summoned by the angel. 10,000 humans against 50,000 goblins, fight to the death, she says, ordering them to attack the humans. Goblins emit a war cry, signifying their extreme hostility. People are scared while the goblins rush to attack with the desire to cut everyone down. Ryu-min calmly, without a weapon, goes to the goblins. It's not his first time fighting. People are surprised by his determination and try to warn him that it is dangerous. Ryu kicks the goblin in the head extremely hard and sharply, throwing him away from himself, killing him. The crowd is shocked that he was able to kill the goblin with one blow. The goblin was thrown back very hard, breaking his neck in the process and died, dropping his blade. Ryu immediately thinks about creating an impression so that other people won't bother him while raising his blade. He gets up and thinks about the most important question now. Looking at the angel, he thinks how to attract the attention of the angel who is watching the battle with curiosity. Ryu, preparing for battle, is about to massacre the goblins who are already running towards him. Using his usual techniques, he rushes through the goblins and cuts them with a simple blade. People in the crowd say how cool Ryu is and wonder where he's from, not knowing the truth. Inspired by the hero's actions, they too are going to attack the goblins. People think that since they are the weakest enemies, they can simply be dealt with. Suddenly, the goblin pounces on one person from the crowd, knocking him to the ground. The goblin, with maniacal joy, pierces a man through and through with his blade. The man who saw this attack was stunned by shock. In terror, the people began to scatter, separating, making it easier for the goblins to harvest. Ryu turns his attention to the carnage happening behind him. He sees that the goblins are calmly carrying out the massacre, and the people are unable to fight back. The girl freezes in horror and sees the goblin maniacally stabbing the man to death. She is in shock and tries to escape into the forest or somewhere else far away from this carnage. "In my first reincarnation, I did the same," Ryu said, watching her run away, knowing that she would not succeed. After his second reincarnation, he realized that escaping would lead to nothing. The girl, trying to escape, runs into a golden barrier that has enveloped the battlefield. The guy noticed her when she was trying to get out. Gathering himself again, he hesitantly raised his blade over the goblin, having never killed anyone before. The goblin trembles with fear of death, seeing the blade hanging over him in an uncertain hand. Noticing that the man was hesitating, he decided to take the opportunity to fight back. He rises sharply and with a blow of his blade throws the man back. Or rather, the man himself jumps back from him in fear. The slaughter continues. The goblins, although fewer in number, are still just as aggressive, and an angel is actively watching this. She watches the fight with amusement, noting that goblins are extremely strong in a pack, especially if they have weapons. But there is something, or rather someone, that bothers her in this carnage. She is very curious about who Ryu really is, watching him confidently cut down goblins. "Black Scythe?" the angel says with great curiosity, noticing that he has almost completed the quest. She complains about the system, which only shows the nickname and the quest progress. Angel doesn't really care about controlling people, as it hurts her pride as a higher being, but she still likes to watch the hero. In turn, Ryu cuts through the goblins with powerful and precise attacks, destroying them in groups. One of the goblins threw his dagger at him, but the hero was able to easily dodge it. A group of goblins immediately rushed at him, thinking that as a group they could kill him. Ryu, with his bare hands, using only one blow on each goblin, breaks through them without any problems. The hero, lightning fast, takes out his dagger, preparing to make a strong and extremely fast blow. Seeing this, the goblin tries to escape from Ryu to save his life. But Ryu suddenly lunges at the goblin, knocking him to the ground and killing him. "Anyone else?" he asks, looking at them coolly. The goblins began to shake in fear as they looked at Ryu and his dagger, which was dripping with blood. "I think we can take a break," Ryu says, wiping the goblin's blood from his face. He opens the status window and sees the new points he received for levels from killing goblins. Ryu, without hesitation, decides to invest all the points gained from levels into agility, the most important stat at the beginning. He knows that agility not only increases the chance to dodge an attack, but also increases the speed of attack and movement. Ryu believes that he has already managed to attract the angel's attention, and it is time to end the show. After which he throws a dagger at the goblin's head, killing him on impact. "Aren't you attacking?" he says menacingly to Ryu, the goblin who stands rooted to the spot in shock. They don't dare approach him, knowing that he is much stronger than them. "If you don't want to," says Ryu, sighing and preparing himself, "then I'll have to attack myself," he says, making a dash through the crowd towards his dagger. The goblin turns around sharply, preparing to attack Ryu, who had come up behind them. Without giving them a chance to breathe, he made a circular strike, tearing their bodies into pieces. After completing the quest, his body was enveloped in a golden-colored barrier, protecting him from everyone. A notification popped up in front of him saying that he was the first to complete the quest in 10 minutes. First place, Ryu thought, happy about it, because first places get good rewards. For completing the quest, he received a low-ranking weapon ticket for first place in his region. And also for first place, he receives a chest to choose a special reward for first place in all regions. To start, Ryu uses a weapon coupon to get better weapons. He is given a choice of a longsword, a stiletto, and a spear, all of which are quite rare weapons. Ryu is glad that there is at least some choice, even if it is not a rich one. He spends some time choosing and takes the stiletto he likes. After receiving the weapon, he throws away the dagger he borrowed from the goblin. Ryu decides to save the chest for later and closes his inventory. He decided to check the status window while the goblin carnage was going on around him, Ryu thought as he studied his status window. During all this time, he never saw his title as the last time traveler in the status window. Out of curiosity, Ryu used a random rune fragment. The system gave him a time reversal rune. As expected, the system reported that it would implant the rune into his body. But she noticed the remains of the rune and was unable to implant it into Ryu, which was what he expected. Due to the fact that he has returned in time 100 times, he receives the title of the Last Time Traveler. Ryu was surprised that he was given a title for this, because they surpass the powers of the runes. This title allows him to become a spirit for a minute after death and, at will, be resurrected with full health, after which the title disappears. This title gives resurrection, which is only available to the priest and even then, with a limit of 30% of total health. Ryu was very happy to receive such a strong title. He decided to hide it from everyone so that no one would find out about it. Ryu already thinks that it's time for the others to finish the task too, and wonders how Yan is doing. Oh, there he is, Ryu thinks as he and another man try to kill the goblin. It looked like he would survive, Ryu thought, without a shadow of a doubt. Several people also completed the task and were closed by a barrier. No wonder it became more and more boring, says the angel, watching the carnage. She says that the pathetic humans die and die, but they cannot compare in numbers with the thinned-out goblins. Maybe we can have some fun again, says the angel, getting ready to torment the people even more. Have fun, the girl holding the dead man in her arms says, faltering and interrupted. The body in her hands begins to glow golden and crumble. All the corpses on the battlefield begin to crumble and disappear. Suddenly, another 50,000 goblins appear, ready to kill. They rush to commit massacre and kill all the people. People didn't expect a huge crowd of goblins again. They barely killed those goblins. I'll give you another 50,000 goblins. I think that will be enough for you, the angel says maniacally, wanting to see the slaughter. The only thing left for the desperate people is to kill all the goblins. One man, closing his eyes in fear, cuts a goblin. The goblin pounces on another person, wanting to tear him apart. The third, wounded man, tries to fight off the goblin with his bare hands. Yang pulls the guy away from the goblin who almost killed him with his swing. Another man is strangling the goblin, preventing him from attacking in any way. Ryu, during all the carnage, just sits and waits for the end. One of the people leaned his bloody hand against the barrier, wanting to help. He watches as a goblin stabs his friend and he can do nothing to help him. The angel watches with rapture the carnage taking place on the battlefield. Ryu has been watching the angel all this time. The task was completed and the people killed the required number of goblins. Some were covered by the barrier, some were not. All the goblins suddenly disappeared as if they had never been there. Angel reported that only half of the task completed as planned. The rest of those who do not pass must die according to the rules. People beg her to let them live, but they are already falling apart. The survivors in the barriers are horrified by such cruelty on her part. The angel tells others not to worry, because they survived and will be able to return. She congratulates them on their victory and hopes that they will try better next time. According to the results, Ryu is in first place both in his region and in all others. He also receives 1,000 gold for completing the task. People are shocked that Ryu is #1 in all regions. Probably now everyone knows that I am #1 in the rankings, thought a satisfied Ryu. Angel can't believe that someone from her region is in first place and wants to ask Ryu a question. He quickly agrees to answer the angel's question. Why are you so strong? Did you get a special rune or something? The angel asked. Damn, she thought as she realized she had said too much. Ryu asks her that she could have just looked at his status window. Why is she asking him about it? She immediately began to justify herself by saying that she had checked it and looked through everything in advance. Don't make me laugh, he said to himself, smiling at her. Mistress Angel, may I ask you something? Ryu said, turning to her. Ask? The angel asked again, surprised. The reward for first place in the rankings is a bit meager, Ryu said confidently. People were shocked by the hero's audacity in asking the angel to change the reward. Angel was both puzzled and angry at Ryu's audacity. He says he was hoping for better rewards than he was given. She asked him again, not believing her ears. Ryu said that he didn't like the rewards she gave him and asked for something better. A long, awkward silence hung between them. She is angry that some pathetic little human dares to ask her for something like that. She wanted to cut off his head like that impudent man. But she remembered that this ability was one time, and she had already used it. Suddenly, she had an idea how to teach him a lesson for his insolence. She already knows exactly what to do now. You want the best reward, right? The angel says to the hero, removing the barrier around him. Normally, I would just decline such a request, she says, descending to the ground. But she decided to think about it and therefore asked Ryu to go with her to a remote place and ordered the others to stay where they were, even though they couldn't leave on their own. People cannot believe that an angel will agree to his proposal, and some even want to achieve another reward themselves later. Many people are interested in what she will give him, and they envy him. Ryu, while walking, turns his gaze to Yan, looking at him sideways. Yang didn't understand why he was looking at him like that, not recognizing him in his new guise. Ryu turned away again and walked away smirking, knowing that he didn't recognize him. Angel and Ryu walk through the forest, deep into it, keeping their distance. She asks why he doesn't come closer and calls him to her. Ryu agrees. Angel complains about Ryu's disobedience and that humans are too greedy. She can't even change the reward that the system gives out. And even if she could, she wouldn't do it. He just has to take what he's given. said the angel, wanting to teach the hero a lesson for his insolence. She plans to kill him as soon as they pass the large rock in front of them. She muses that if something goes wrong and if she doesn't find the reason for his murder, the players will start a riot and destroy the game. That's why they're in the forest. Because she doesn't need witnesses. Fucking stupid human. If you hadn't been there, none of this would have happened, the angel thinks, breaking into a maniacal smile, imagining how she was killing him. So you want a reward? Yes, tell me. What reward do you need? She says, turning to him. Turning around, the angel sees Ryu's fist flying toward her face, with the intention of breaking it. The fist hits her cheek with great force, crushing her face. She flew quite far from such a strong blow from Ryu. The angel only realized the blow as she was flying, not expecting it from what she thought was a shitty little human. She fell from surprise and a very strong blow from Ryu, which immediately knocked her down. What the hell is this? This little man hit me. The angel thinks, spitting out golden blood. She can't believe that a simple, pathetic man hit her, just like that. You fucking bastard, she screams, turning around to rip Ryu apart with her hands. Turning around, she didn't see him, as if he had never been there. Angel thinks he's disappeared when in fact he's already behind her and preparing to pounce on her. He grabs her wing very tightly and strongly. She looks back in fear, feeling a strong grip on her wing. Wait, what are you doing? Frightened, she asks Ryu. What is pulling her wing with the intention of tearing it off? She screams in pain as he rips off her wing with a calm face. She froze from pain shock and tried to look behind her. Ryu, calmly, without hesitation, as if he had done this many times, completely tears off her wing, from which the golden blood of an angel gushes. Stop whining already, he says, tearing off her wing with his bare hands. Afterwards, Ryu starts tearing off her second wing while she screams in pain. Now you definitely won't escape, he says, tearing off the second wing, from which golden blood still gushes. Ryu asks if it hurts, to which she screams that of course it hurts. He says that if it had been a few more minutes, she would have already told him this and would have laughed nastily. She says Ryu went crazy, yelling at him while sitting on his knees. Ryu claims that she would have killed him using the dagger she hid in her wing and shows him the dagger hanging on her wing that he tore off. What do you mean? She asked, puzzled, trying to justify herself. As soon as she wanted to say that she had never even thought of such a thing, he interrupted her and said that there was no point in lying. Everything was visible on her and said her name, Biriel. She is extremely surprised that a mere mortal knows her name, because she has never told it to anyone. Ryu summons a stiletto from his inventory into his hand, with the intent of killing Biriel. She screams in bewilderment at why he needs a weapon, to which he asks if she herself has any idea. Biriel claims that he is tired of living because she can kill him with one wave of her hand, blow his head off. He says that she won't do anything to him because she has already used the ability. Her face was twisted with confusion, fear, and anger. She begins to claim that her comrades, the angels, will get him and take revenge, but he immediately puts her down, saying that all angels are selfish by nature. They would rather take care of themselves than of her. But she considers this nonsense. He already wants to kill her, but the angel, without giving up trying to persuade him, says that if she dies, he will not return. But Ryu says that the system will return them on its own. Without her participation, she is again in shock. Biriel keeps trying to persuade him to leave her alive, offering any information, but he is not interested in it. Ryu says that if he needed information, he would torture her and find out everything he needed. He already knows everything about angels. As soon as she asked how he knew all this, the hero immediately plunged a stiletto straight into her chest. Ryu pierced her with the stiletto, spraying all her blood onto the ground, blood pouring out of her mouth as well. Biriel's lifeless body lay on the ground, her entire body covered in golden blood, Ryu's hands also covered in her blood. The system signals him about killing an angel. He became the first to kill an angel, and receives the title First Angel Killer. As a reward for killing an angel for the first time, he receives angel blood and a killer rune, which he learned when he killed an angel on his 13th attempt, taking revenge on him. The resulting rune is immediately implanted into Ryu's body. The title Angel Slayer gives the recipient a double increase in stats when fighting a sacred entity. The assassin rune implanted in him gives a permanent percentage increase to his stats up to 100% until the end of the round. If the angels knew that he had received this rune now, like all the other items, they would be shocked. Ryu carefully examines the item he desperately needed, which he received when he killed Biriel. In his hands he holds the blood of an angel, an extremely rare item. This item is a consumable required to obtain the Reaper class, which specializes in killing holy creatures. From level 10, all players get the opportunity to get a class, which determines the strengths and weaknesses of the players, pumping and weapons, There are 30 of them in total, and they are easy to change. To change, you need to get a special item for changing the class. Usually it is obtained during a hunt or by fulfilling simple conditions, but there are also unique classes that can only be taken by one player, and the items for obtaining such classes are obtained in a complex way. Of course, unique classes are much superior to simple classes. Leveling, skills, weapons, everything has striking differences. I came back without even clearing the first round, Ryu says, wanting to open a rare reward chest. The chest contains a buff that increases experience on the second round, 2,000 gold, or information about the second round. Right now, the most important thing for Ryu is to quickly reach level 10 in order to take a class. Therefore, the hero takes the experience buff. It starts working from the second round. This is his last attempt, and therefore, he will not hesitate. He needs to become stronger as quickly as possible. The system declares the end of the first round and sets the second round for February 1st, 2023. Yang jumps up abruptly, waking up in the real world. He sees that people around him are also awakening after the angel carried them. Yang is very excited about what happened because it is definitely not a dream or hallucination. The people slowly come to their senses, thinking that they were dreaming. Yang looks at his phone and sees that the same amount of time has passed as in his dream. His partners also wake up, complaining of a stiff body and pain in it. Yang talks to his partner, saying that everyone who was in the square fainted or fell asleep. They started saying that they had a strange dream, but Yeon doesn't think so. People say that they survived hell and were able to overcome the test. Yong's partners begin to understand that this is not a dream, and a special test has begun for them. They all notice that Kim Tae-shik had not yet woken up and was lying unconscious. One of them comes up to him and starts shaking him and turning him over. It's clear from her face that Kim is in extremely bad shape. The partner begins to check Kim's breathing and pulse, trying to figure out if he is alive. He is not breathing and has no pulse, he says in fear, and the realization that his partner is dead. Yang was very scared, realizing that everyone could very easily die. They all realize that death in the game is real. All those who do not wake up are also dead. Half of all the people in the square are dead. Yang's hands begin to shake from fear that he could have died peacefully there, with the goblins. He begins to slowly lose his mind from the realization of everything. But also, in Yang's opinion, everyone is equal and in equal conditions. Having thrown off the negative thoughts, he tries, quite rudely, to calm his partner, who has fallen into despair. Yang says that everyone is equal and everything is fair, and his partners begin to think that he is crazy. Another partner says that Yang has always been a child of the streets, so he has nothing to lose, and he still has a lot to do. While he was saying this, Yang was looking out for someone. He had been looking for Ryu all this time, but he couldn't find him. Yang remembered that the hero was on the sidelines and wondered where he had gone. He decided that since he was a weakling, he died immediately in that massacre, without knowing the whole truth. Something suddenly alerted him, something next to him. Yang notices a guy in metal armor, which is not typical for their time. It shocked him. No one wears things like that in Seoul. He could only think of one thing. The system had penetrated their world. Attempts to summon a status window for him were successful, it appeared in front of him. He confirmed his expectation. His surprise knew no bounds. He even said it out loud. His partners didn't believe it at first, but they decided to check and a status window opened for them too. Like a chain reaction, people launched status windows and were shocked. Yang decides to check something and takes a stone. He simply squeezes it in his hand, and the stone crumbles into small pieces. The realization came to him that his power remained with him. This is just amazing, says Yang, anticipating what he will do with this power. The news reports that 10,000 citizens lost consciousness at Jongro Square right during the New Year's greeting. Before she lost consciousness, an unidentified woman dressed as an angel was spotted above the square and began talking to civilians. Shortly after the speech, a man dies from a head explosion, before which the woman said some words and pointed her finger at him. The woman then extends her hands to the observers, and they all lose consciousness. All of the people who lost consciousness were reportedly between the ages of 19 and 29. This phenomenon occurs not only in South Korea but all over the world. Commentators immediately start saying that the media used something, that it was a joke and fake. It's already started, says Ryu, walking down the street lit by the dawn. It goes on to say that only half of them have regained consciousness, while the rest are either in a comatose state or have been declared brain dead, an extraordinary crisis, since 11% of the world's population has died. The rest of the survivors call themselves players, and this is the main problem. The statistics from there are transferred here. The difference isn't that big yet. But Ryu knows that the longer this goes on, the worse it will get. Over time, players will become superhumans with skills and enormous strength and magic. Ordinary people will be unable to oppose them. Ryu isn't going to just stand there and let things slide. He decides to take everything and everyone under his control, becoming much stronger than them. Ryu will use every means available to him to become stronger as quickly as possible, and he knows a few people who will help him get through to the boss. He will deal with this later. He has more important things to do. After some time, he comes to his home and enters quietly. The hero immediately notices something that attracts his attention. These are the noodles that someone ate for dinner, which Ryu didn't like very much. He quietly opens the door and enters the room. His younger brother is sleeping on the mattress, unaware of what happened. He sleeps like a log while his older brother is out somewhere, Min thinks, looking at his brother. The younger brother's name is Ryu Wan, and he is currently in the 3rd grade of middle school. They used to have a very ordinary family until his parents died in a car accident, and he became his brother's guardian. Min looks at the bandage that came off his little brother. His brother is all beaten and bruised. He adjusts the bandage, sticking it better to the wound. Min takes a moment to collect his thoughts, looking at his brother. He turns on the light and wakes up his little brother. Reluctantly, Vaughn wakes up. "It's time to get up, Ryu Wan," Min says to his younger, sleepy brother. "It's only 6 in the morning," Vaughn complains. Vaughn's older brother suddenly yanks the blanket off him, startling him. Min says that there is no time, and he will answer his questions on the way. Vaughn asks where they are going, and he refuses to go if it is just to watch the sunrise. Min simply tells him to listen to his older brother. He says that we can't relax and the world is falling into chaos. The younger brother says that Min was going to celebrate the New Year outside and asks what happened, to which his brother says he will answer on the way. They walk together along the empty morning road. Vaughn looks at his brother with excitement and interest. His brother has a serious face and he is wondering what happened. Min asks his brother that he doesn't know anything about what happened. She was frightened by her brother's statements and wanted to know what happened, which her brother simply suggested she look at on the internet. He watches the news on his brother's advice to see what happened. Not understanding, he asks his brother if everything he read is true. Min says that an angel took away the souls of the people in the square. One notes that his brother's soul was also taken away, which Min tells him that he also got there and killed 100 goblins to return. He immediately worries about his older brother, whether he is injured and whether everything is okay. But Min waves it off, saying that there is no need to worry. Vaughn can't help but worry about his older brother. After the death of his parents, he was the only one left with him. Min became the closest and most powerful figure for him. While he was crying from grief that his parents had died, his brother tried to become stronger in order to replace his younger brother's parents. He became the most reliable and strong man in the world. But Vaughn, in his thoughts, is worried that a strong spirit and killing hundreds of goblins are two different things. Physically, his brother is not so strong. Min already knows what's troubling his brother. There was a stat system like in the games, so his original strength wasn't important, which he uses to reassure his brother. Min says that Wan will see him in action later and will immediately understand everything. But this gives Wan even more questions about where they are going, to which Min says to follow him if he wants to know. The younger brother refuses to go anywhere further without an explanation of where they are going. He asks to tell him everything because he is worried about his brother. Looking at all his brother's wounds, he still decides to tell him that it wasn't the first time he went there. After thinking for a while, he finally decides to tell his brother where they are going. Min says who they are going to, Bang Tai-gyu. This name surprises his brother. They go to the hideout of the class's biggest bully, his younger brother. Min has known for a long time that he is bullying his brother. Vaughn is surprised. How does he know? Because he hid everything that was happening from him. The elder says that he is not blind and has noticed everything a long time ago. The younger one didn't want to bother his brother with these problems. He already had a lot of things to do, so what else would he need? In his mind, he apologizes to Min for causing him trouble. In fact, he didn't know before the cycles that he had such problems at school. He found out everything when he first returned from there, when he was sleeping and his brother went about his business. Afterwards, Minu received a call in the morning, waking him up. At first, he was asked if he was Ryu Wan's guardian, and he still hadn't woken up from his sleep and didn't even understand anything. He is told to come urgently to the hospital where Vaughn is currently lying, news that takes his breath away. After Vaughn left, he was beaten and became completely blind, and Min blames himself for not being able to see all the signs earlier. From that moment on, he promised that no one would touch his brother. No one. Inside the building materials warehouse behind the heavy doors, loud bangs can be heard. The person is kicked in the chest with particular zeal. A big guy beats up 3 weaker guys, saying that they should have brought 2,001 each. He is angry that these guys do not answer him because they are beaten. This fuels his anger even more. And again, he starts to beat these people with his feet when they are lying there without strength. His partners say that this is a typical Ban, who beats even his own servants with fury. They whisper that the elders from other schools are also afraid and that it would be too dangerous for them to cross his path. After beating up those guys, Ban complains that he wanted to buy himself a bike with that money, but he can't because they didn't bring it. He asks his partners if they have any ideas on how to get money, which confuses them. Ban tells them to think of something quickly. One of them comes up with an idea on how to do it. It's possible to squeeze money out of that small, curly-haired Ryu-wan. Ban just wanted to call him to beat him up, so to speak, to give him a New Year's gift. Others agree because they can get money out of him and that it is a good idea. But Ban doesn't agree with them. He's homeless, in his opinion. The fact that he lives, who knows where, and he definitely doesn't have any money. His partners didn't even know about this, and he also adds that he doesn't have parents either. He says that he lives with his brother, and turning to the entrance, he was surprised. His guys immediately ask what's wrong with him, and he watches silently. At the door stands Ryu-wan, who shyly took hold of his hand, and Ryu-min, who came here not to negotiate. Ban and his company were encouraged by the fact that he came himself, and there was no need to call him. "Remember the sun, here is a ray," he says. Ban shouts that Ryu-wan is a little bastard, with particular aggression. Ryu-wan, awkwardly, tremblingly apologizes to him, holding on to his brother with his other hand. Ban thought in his mind that he was next to Ryu-wan. He didn't like his face. He asks who he brought with him. Did he make a friend or something? And Ryu-wan himself is trying to squeeze words out of himself. "I am Ryu-wan's brother," Ryu-min said immediately. Ban is already preparing to beat up both Wan and Min, because the younger brother told everything, since he was told to keep quiet. His partners immediately decided to approach the brothers, surprising him. They confidently go to Ming, surprised that weaklings themselves go to Ban, and hope that he at least knows how to fight. One of them comes up and mockingly says, "What, do you want to fight?" and mockingly shows that he is taller. Min immediately punches him in the face, pushing his face deeper into his head. He immediately falls down from the blow and lies there with a broken face, scaring the other guy. The guy immediately pounces on Min, trying to hit him. The hero calmly moves to the left and the blow misses him. He immediately parries his blow with a punch to the jaw. The guy doesn't even have time to realize anything. The guy immediately flies into a pile of boxes and barrels, destroying it. 2 more ran to beat him, not thinking about their own defense. Min immediately struck everyone in the face with lightning speed. All of Ban's teammates were taken out in one hit and can no longer fight. Ban watches this whole performance and mentally calls his people trash who are incapable of fighting. He thinks that Min learned to fight somewhere, but it's useless against him. Approaching Min, Ban says that just because he has learned a couple of moves, it doesn't mean he is now the boss here. After all, you can simply crush them with mass, he says, being confident in himself. "It's a shame you don't read the news," says Ryu-min, knowing that he will easily win it. "What's the news?" Ban says, and the hero sighs, realizing how stupid he is. Screaming, he attacks Min, simply swinging at him. The hero calmly and skillfully dodges his attack. Ban begins a series of attacks, which the hero calmly dodges, never getting hit by an attack. He quickly runs out of steam and begins to suspect that something is wrong with Ryu-min. He is angry and does not understand why he is not hitting the hero. "If only you read the news," says Min, preparing a powerful blow. "You wouldn't dare swing at a player," he says, uppercutting Ban's jaw. Ban staggers after the blow, but does not fall off his feet from such a blow. With a jerk, he rushes sharply towards the hero to deal him a strong blow. Before the strike, the hero disappears. Ban was surprised that Min suddenly disappeared. "It can't be!" he shouted in surprise and anger, a moment before the hero struck. Immediately after he said this, a blow to the head flew at lightning speed. "You are nothing, dirt!" insults the hero Ban, holding his face. He lowers his hand and blood drips onto it, and a tooth falls out, which was knocked out by the hero. "I'll kill you!" Ban yells in anger for the knocked-out tooth. He hits again with all his might. Min calmly dodges such a blow. The hero grabs Ban's arm, interrupting his attacks. Holding his arm, he delivers a series of quick punches straight to the face, breaking it more and more with each blow. Ban still doesn't fall down from such strong blows to his head. Is he aiming for the face on purpose? Ban thinks in his head, getting even angrier from this. Slippery asshole, if I ever get into him, he thinks, looking at the grinning Min. Ban lunges towards the hero, who didn't even dodge the blow as if teasing him. He tries to reach Min, but the hero kicks Ban right in his Adam's apple. The hero's blow reaches his throat and almost breaks his trachea. Ban flies into the warehouse wall at high speed. "Ban you," says Min, looking with disdain at Ban, who is choking from a blow to the trachea. "Does it hurt?" the hero asks him, saying he will never forget how this bastard beat up his brother and blinded him. The image of his beaten brother cannot leave his head. He will never forget or forgive it. "Don't come closer," Ban intermittently begs not to come near him, but Min doesn't care. Min came close, and the lying bastard begs him to stop. The hero carefully takes Ban's hand, but the bastard is afraid of him like fire, holding his Adam's apple. "That's why you shouldn't touch my brother," Min said with a maniacal smile. There was a crunching sound, and Ban didn't even realize at first what had happened. The hero broke all the fingers on his left hand with one movement, and he screamed in pain. While he's screaming, Min grabs his other hand to do the same to it. He begs that they not break the fingers on his other hand. The hero, of course, does not listen to him, and breaks the fingers of his hand. Ban again screams in pain throughout the building, and his partners, having come to their senses after the beating, run away in fear. There, he turned away, not wanting to watch all the cruelty that was happening here. "If you try again, you know what will happen, right?" Min asks Ban, who cries and says that he understands what this threatens him with. "Well, that's great, and yet..." The hero smiles maniacally, knowing that he will continue to torment him. He needs to finish the job, otherwise he might forget and break his arm again. An extremely loud cry of pain spreads throughout the entire warehouse. "Brother?" Vaughn asks his brother hesitantly as they walk away. He asks how Min learned to fight so well that he could defeat them calmly. The hero replies that players can use skills in the real world as well. Vaughn asks how that is possible. He summons a stiletto into his hand, the golden light forming into a weapon, which fascinates Vaughn. A stiletto appeared in his hand, which shocked the younger brother. "The knife appeared out of nowhere," one exclaimed in surprise. Min said that he can summon the weapon he received. While the older brother recalls the weapon, the younger one asks that everything that was there is also skills. "That's right. I have 11 points of agility," Ryu Min notes, for example. "An ordinary person has 3, and an athlete has 10. One asks again what will happen if he raises the level, to which Min replies that, how would he know? This has never happened before. But it's all a lie to save his brother from a worse fate. One day during his 11th attempt, he told his brother about his ability and was stolen by another player. Even though he got his revenge, he still doesn't want his brother to go through that again. The hero wants to prepare to protect his brother in player clashes. To begin with, he offers his brother to have breakfast at the store. Vaughn doesn't mind eating. Arriving at the store, Min first approaches the ATM intending to withdraw cash. He was going to withdraw almost all of his savings. He withdrew 100,000 won in cash, leaving about 30,000 on the card. The younger brother is shocked at how much he took. The hero immediately suggests taking food from the expensive department. One asks if his brother is sure about this, since all the prices for goods here start at 5,000. Min convinces him to take whatever he wants today. The younger one worries about whether there will be money left for later, to which the older one says to take whatever he wants. Vaughn immediately became inspired and suggested taking the pork belly chili. The younger one looks happy, which warms the older one's heart for the umpteenth time. Min immediately suggests going to a restaurant and trying the most expensive steak. He immediately denies that what he chose is enough for him. Looking at his brother, the hero says in his head that he will feed him so much meat that he will become sick of him. The younger one takes the already warmed up meat and eats it along with freshly cooked rice. The younger brother is very happy when he eats this dish. "Yummy," Vaughn said. Enjoying such delicious food, his older brother is glad to see him happy. Min gets up from the table and wants to go somewhere. The younger one asks about it, but the older one says not to worry about it. The hero leaves and returns after a while. He puts a pen and the lottery tickets he bought on the table. Vaughn is surprised that he spent all the money he withdrew on the lottery. The younger one asks how many tickets he bought. The older one answers that he bought 20. He is shocked that the hero bought lottery tickets with all his savings and is afraid that they will not get anything. Min says there is no need to rush to conclusions on this matter. Vaughn is surprised at what the hero is doing and asks him to stop. Min filled all the tickets with the same numbers, and the younger one panics about where the money goes. The elder says that these are all winning numbers and they will get the winnings. On this day, they draw a lottery. The youngest was waiting for this day to find out whether they could win something or not. He was very worried, because we were talking about 100,000 won. Ryuwan was exhausted, thinking that it would have been better to spend all that money on food. He slowly comes to his senses when the numbers are announced. The more they are announced, the more surprised he becomes. The lottery announced the winning numbers and they all matched their tickets. They won the lottery. Vaughn can't believe his ears and eyes. Victory is in their pocket, and in all the tickets, they all have the same numbers. He asks to pinch him. Min invites him to pinch himself. Vaughn asks his brother if this is all a dream. The older one asks if he wants this to be a dream. The younger one says no. Min convinces his brother that this is not a dream and that everything is true. Vaughn is loudly happy that they won the lottery. He is glad that the money was not wasted. The elder says not to make noise, otherwise his brother will wake up the neighbors. "Are you that happy?" Min asks his brother, who replies as if he is not happy. The elder one is of course happy, but he has done this many times. At first he was just as happy that he had won as his brother, but after that it became a prerequisite for survival. With 900 million people dead, the economy will be shaky. In the future, players will trade a variety of items, all for cash. The younger one can't believe that they have 100 winning tickets in their hands, and he wonders how much they will get for them. The older one has no idea. The win could be so big that it would shock the world. After some time, he comes to the bank to cash the lottery tickets. Min is no longer nervous about this, as he has already cashed out his winnings dozens of times. "I'd like to collect the first place prize in the lottery," says Ryu-min, as he approaches the counter. The employee congratulates the hero on his victory, because this is a rarity. In his mind, the employee is surprised that the student was able to receive the first place prize. The employee asks to know where the ticket was purchased, and Min names the branch as Yonghui. He was extremely surprised when he heard this name. He heard that the Yonghui branch had won 115 times. The most important thing is that the 100 tickets were from one place. All 100 were bought there. "Just don't tell me that only one person bought them," the employee asks his colleague. He was told that if anyone came from there, he should call the director. They were VIP guests. He asks the hero to wait while he calls someone. A few minutes later, the bank director comes and thanks for waiting. He introduced himself as Guan Jun, and they shook hands. Guan sincerely congratulates Min on winning first place in the lottery. The director asks to go to a quieter place and asks to follow him. He takes the hero to the lottery ticket sales team. They are greeted by the woman behind the counter who works here. She is nervous and wonders who is next to the bank president, perhaps his son? Guan Jun introduces Ryu Min as a VIP guest who came to collect his winnings and asks him to take care of him. She is surprised that he won 100 tickets and is a VIP guest. The girl is very nervous and is trying to calm down. She asks Ryu Min to sit on the chair, addressing him very politely. The secretary asks if he wants something to drink, to which he says no and asks to give him his winnings immediately. She immediately asks for the tickets to check, to make sure how much he won. Min calmly hands over all the winning tickets he bought. The secretary can't believe that all the tickets have the same number. Once she's finished checking, she confirms that all the tickets are winning. Min asks how much he won from all the tickets. She is shocked by such an amount. The secretary says he won about 22.5 billion won. With taxes, he won about 15 billion. The first thing the hero did was find a place to move and rent a house. He later opened a brokerage account and invested in Bitcoin, as it was set to grow sixfold next month. Min shows his brother the house he bought to live in. One really likes it. The younger one then asks why he rented it instead of buying it, since he could have easily bought it with their budget. To this, the hero replies that he has no more money. He kept only 1 billion, investing the rest in Bitcoin. He was shocked by this information. He didn't think they would leave so quickly. Min tries to reassure his brother that it wasn't all thoughtless. The elder says that in any case, he will get more money with the help of the Nato lottery. He dreamed of the winning numbers. Vaughn was filled with hope. He had only heard about those people who dream of Nato numbers. The younger brother, shaking the older one, asks him not to forget these winning numbers. Min replies that he will not forget. He had won this lottery so many times that they were imprinted in his head. The elder offers his brother somewhere to eat and is already preparing to leave. The younger does not understand where they are going. "And I didn't tell you?" "We're leaving today," Min says to his brother. One powerful blow shattered the concrete wall into pieces. Yong tests his immense strength on a concrete wall. It was a good idea for him to put everything into strength. He prepares another powerful punch against the wall to test his newfound strength. Yong also received a power rune on the mission, which doubles his strength, increasing it significantly. He looks with pleasure at the wall he shattered, thinking that Mike Tyson would be jealous of such strength. Yong is just itching to test this power in a real fight. Yeon Nim knocks on the hero's door, trying to get through to him. He doesn't think the hero is dead and still there, but he wonders why he isn't answering. Arrogant jerk? He thinks I'll just let him go, Yong thinks, seething with anger. He will not forgive the hero for looking at him so arrogantly in the square. Yong is seething with anger just remembering this moment. He is ready to bury him alive just so he can get to the hero. He furiously bangs on the door, even though Ryu Min is also a player, but he is a loser. He is a loser, and he needs to be taught a lesson. Yang stopped knocking, realizing that he was hiding there and not opening the door. He decided to act more cunningly than simply banging on the door. Yang began to act out the scene that he realized that there was no one there and he was leaving, remaining at the door. He stands and listens. If there is even one breath, he will smash this door to pieces. But an old man distracts him, asking what he is doing at someone else's door. Yang asks rather rudely who this old man is, the owner or what. He introduces himself as the owner, which shocks Yang. He didn't expect that. The owner asks if the young man has come to meet his friend, and Yang himself is surprised by such a conclusion. He, playing on the owner's mistake, says that he came to see him and whether he could open the door for him. Yang claims that he can't get in touch with his friend and asks to open the door again. And the owner is surprised and indignant at such an attitude on the part of the hero. The owner thinks that Yona was abandoned by a friend. He says that it is empty because he moved from here today and doesn't know where to go. Yona is filled with rage because the hero left without telling him anything. The brothers arrived at a huge multi-story residential complex, which also houses cafes and restaurants. Ryu Wan, the youngest of the brothers, admires the place they moved to. He is surprised by everything as he enters the building, and admires the revolving door through which he passed. There are even pass cards here. Vaughn wonders in his mind when they were given passes. He is also surprised that there are guards here. "Brother, this place is amazing," Juan admires while telling his older brother Ryu Min. After they take the elevator up to the 43rd floor, Min invites his brother to come and see where they will be living. A huge, beautiful room is seen and Vaughn asks how big this place is. The hero says that it is about 330 square meters, which, to put it mildly, amazes his younger brother. One says that there is too much space for the two of them, but Min objects that since they have a lot of money, the apartment should be big. The younger one asks again how much this apartment costs, and the older one answers that it's 500 million as a deposit and 22 million every month. He falls into a stupor because recently he was only worried about the 5,000 he spent on food, and the rent already costs millions. He immediately expresses his opinion to Min that maybe they need to move to something cheaper. The monthly rent is too high. Min explains to his brother that it was worth it because there is very good security here. Security is needed because during the transfer to pass the round, players fall into an unconscious state. They then become extremely vulnerable to disasters, such as fire and earthquake, as well as to murderers. Therefore, players need to find an extremely safe place, because if you die in reality during the test, you will die there too. Min asks his brother if he likes their apartment, and he replies that of course he does. He is glad that he likes this place because now they will live here. For a moment, Juan hesitated, wanting to say something to his brother. He asks for forgiveness. Min does not understand what his brother is apologizing for. Vaughn apologizes for the fact that he will live his life calmly while his brother will risk his life, and for being so naive. Min takes his shoulder in a brotherly manner, trying to support him. He asks why Juan is so depressed, thinking that his brother won't be back in the next round. Juan himself gets a little nervous from this statement. Min says that they should stop thinking about it and suggests that they go eat at the restaurant in the complex to take their minds off it. Juan awkwardly agrees. The elder receives a call on his phone and he picks it up to see who is calling. Min realized that Yan had already found out about the move and was trying to call him. He decides to simply ignore Yan, not thinking that he would meet him again in reality. But in another world, he will meet him. That will definitely happen. The next day, the elder comes out into the living room to find out what is going on. He sees his brother, seeing how he is going somewhere, asks where he is going. The younger one, with great joy, replies that he ordered rice cake from the neighbors and is going to pick it up. Half asleep, Min doesn't understand why his brother needs rice cake. He thought, in all his attempts, in all his regressions, he never took a rice cake. This is the first deviation from all the events that happened. Why did you buy it? Min asks his brother. He answers that it is for the neighbors, as a housewarming gift. It's not a bad idea, the hero tells his brother, as he expected from him. One offers his brother to stay while he goes around the neighbors, but Min says to wait for him, and they will go together. They ring the bell to greet their neighbors. Who is it? Asks a voice coming from the intercom. Hello, we just moved into the apartment next door. We came to meet you, says Ryu Wan, with joy on her face and a pie in her hands. A nice older woman opens the door for them. She is happy to meet her neighbors. She asks if they are twins, to which Vaughn happily agrees. They offer her rice cake, which they distribute to all the neighbors and say that it is best eaten warm. She is very happy with such a gift and thanks them. The brothers go to the next neighbors. Min tells the neighbors that they have moved to apartment 4302. One offers his neighbor a rice cake as a gift. Min gives the woman a rice cake and asks her to take care of them. The younger one gives a pie to the mother and child. The child himself tries to thank, although he pronounces gratitude incorrectly. After a long time, they have only one apartment left, the owners of which they have not met. They want to finish quickly and go to rest. Min says one interesting fact is that the 44th and 45th floors are combined into one, because that's where the richest people live. He doesn't know who exactly, most likely a celebrity or someone from a rich family. At this time, Vaughn tries to get through to the residents. No one answered the intercom, so they were probably not home, Vaughn thought. Deciding to double-check, he presses the intercom button again, but no one responds. One suggests trying something else, until Min notices someone behind him. The younger one also notices something out of the corner of his eye. They both turn around and see someone who really surprises them. The brothers saw a beautiful girl and a man in a business suit. She was the actress Se-rin. He admires how beautiful she is, how she looks like an angel. The man in the suit immediately puts his hand in front of them, shielding them from the actress. "Who are you, fans?" her bodyguard asks them, shielding her with himself. "Excuse me?" Min asks indignantly, and says that they are their neighbors below. "Neighbors downstairs?" the bodyguard says in surprise, noticing the rice cake in Juan's hands. He says that he mistook them for other people. The younger one immediately offers to try their pie. The bodyguard claims that she doesn't eat that kind of thing, so it's not worth it. Walking forward to the door, the brothers are slightly puzzled by such words. He puts the key card to the lock and opens their apartment. "Come in," the bodyguard says rather dryly. Rin enters, slightly confused. Walking to the door, she glances at her brothers out of the corner of her eye and then goes into the apartment. Min, as soon as they leave, says that he doesn't know who he is, who he thinks he is, and that it was rude. "Don't pay attention to that asshole," the elder says to his younger brother, but the younger one is worried about something else. He suddenly became very happy, literally glowed with happiness. Min was surprised at why his brother had changed so much. Juan himself was surprised that his brother didn't know this girl. Min still didn't understand anything. "Se-rin, it's Se-rin," the younger brother says extremely excitedly, but Min still doesn't understand who she is. Because of the beginning of the game, during the missions, a lot of actors died. More than half of them passed away, and they are now very valuable. Rin sits on the couch and sighs sadly, looking at something on her phone. She wonders how the world still works after all this. While watching the news on her phone about the filming being stopped due to the actor's anxiety, she receives a message asking if she watched the news. They write to her that the actor Gong Seo-jin has died. Rin knows about this tragic event. She's offered to go to his funeral, to which she agrees because he cared about her. She couldn't even imagine that more talented people would die in the first round. But she wouldn't. If at the beginning of the whole game she hadn't received a good rune, she would already be in these articles. She has become stronger during this time, and she herself does not believe that she is thinking about her obituary. Would she have been able to achieve the same success in her career if not for the company? Because even the penthouse they rent, while she is thinking about it, a male figure approaches her from behind. "And what was Rin thinking about?" the bodyguard asks. She, frightened by surprise, said that she was not thinking about anything. He says that this was discussed before. He can be trusted. She thought about what the world would become and how to survive the next round. The bodyguard says not to worry because he is here. She just needs to relax and trust in his powers. "Of course, who else can I trust?" Rin said happily, looking at him. When she was first assigned a security manager, she was wary because it looked like she was being followed. But if he hadn't protected her during the first quest, taking the brunt of the blow, she would have died there. He claims that he will protect her no matter what, so she shouldn't give up. She sincerely thanked him for protecting her. Rin quickly remembered and started talking about what happened recently. Those guys were their neighbors. She wanted to try their pie, but the manager said that she would get fat if she ate that kind of food. She thinks that they must have been very upset because the guys wanted to greet them, to which the guard replies, "It's just a greeting, nothing more." The manager says that they definitely need something, and if she gives in to them even a little, they won't leave her alone. Thinking back on them, she doesn't think they're bad people, especially Vaughn. Rin also seems to be involved, and both were able to survive the test by killing the goblins. She is surprised that people who have gone through this live peacefully, as if nothing happened. The bodyguard claims that killing 100 goblins is easy. Only a dumb person could not do it. It's because in the other world you have outstanding skills, Rin thinks. Even with his skills, he wasn't as good as Black Scythe. He almost made her feel sorry for the goblins. She wonders who he is and what he does. Not knowing that he is right next door, She is also sure that she will survive the second round if she cooperates with him. She was able to survive only thanks to luck and is not sure how lucky she will be next time. It's January 31st, and in a few hours, 900 million will go into a coma and be sent to the test. The youngest brother is cleaning the apartment in the morning until he notices someone. Ryumin returned home after his business. He went for money. Ryuwon immediately asks how much he received, to which Min replies that it was about 15 billion, which is not that much compared to the amounts that were before. The younger one also asks what they said at the bank, because this is the fourth victory in a row. The older one is somehow embarrassed to talk about it. The bank director is surprised that this is already the fourth time he has come. He asks what Mina's secret is, to which he replies that he has prophetic dreams. The director himself wants such dreams and imagines what he could do with them. Vaughn wasn't surprised by his answer. It was the most obvious outcome. He asks his older brother if he will invest all this money back into Bitcoin, to which he says he will, just like the other 1.5 trillion. Vaughn talks about the fear of Bitcoin devaluation, because of this, they will lose their money. Min immediately says that he will not take them out. It's not the time. He says not to worry about it and go. You eat? They eat at a good restaurant because their budget allows it. They walk down the street, buy different products, have fun, and so on until the evening. 5 minutes before leaving for the tests, Min lies in bed and his brother holds his hand. Vaughn squeezes his hand tighter, worried about his brother. He asks him to survive and come back no matter what happens. Min says they're not afraid. He saw how his older brother beat up Bang Taegyu, who was bothering one. The older one simply asks his younger brother not to be afraid and just go to bed. When he wakes up, his brother will already be next to him. He needs to go now. Ryumin is once again transported to this world where quests take place. The rest of the people are also transported here whole. Many people, when they return, experience stress, remembering what happened before, and they found themselves in a completely different place. Everyone noticed the hero again and immediately recognized him. It was he who set the record for killing goblins in all regions. The hero realized that many people recognized him and did not approach him. He noticed Yan again and noted that everyone had gathered, that everything was about to start soon, and that she was about to come. He began to look at the place where the angel was supposed to appear. An angel appeared before them, different from the one that had accompanied them before. People immediately realized that it was another angel, and were perplexed as to why the old angel did not come to them. She explained that something happened to the last angel and she would not appear here. From now on, I will guide you, says the angel, anticipating the test. Since everyone is here, she will announce the second round. People are waiting to see what kind of test they will face this time. System screens with the task for the round appear in front of all people. The main task is to elect a regional representative within 3 hours. People thought they were going to have to kill monsters, and they noticed that everyone can pass. No one will die this round. The angel noticed the confusion of the people and hurried to explain everything. She explains that this round will be without battles. It ends when they choose a representative of the region. The representatives themselves can give orders to the others, which cannot be disobeyed. Everyone will carry them out without question. People immediately began to think about how they could become representatives and gain such power. Within 3 hours, everyone will receive a voting ticket in which they must choose a representative of the region. One of the people asks, "Will there be nothing else? Just voting?" The angel confirms this and says that after the vote, everyone will calmly return home, so to speak. This is a short respite. People are happy that they will be able to survive peacefully and move on. She says they have 3 hours to decide who will be the representative and disappears, starting the timer. People cannot believe such generosity from an angel. Yang is angry because he won't be able to test his strength in battle, and he was preparing for a fight. His friend tells him to relax because everyone will be alive, but Yan is furious that he won't be able to show his enormous power to anyone. Min, having overheard the conversation, notices that this time Yan got the rune of power. Having collected all the facts together, he realizes that everything is going on as before. The main task is the elections, but not the only one. So the hero goes into the forest. Now they are not limited by the barrier. An additional quest is to advance to obtain a class. He took out his stiletto and prepared himself, because the forest was simply teeming with strong enemies. A hobgoblin comes out to him, a stronger enemy than the goblins, numerous groups of which live in this forest. "Come on," says the hero, and motions for the hobgoblin to come to him. The hobgoblin makes a sharp lunge towards Min, wanting to tear him apart. The hero also makes a dash towards the hobgoblin, with the same desire as him. He kills the hobgoblin with one clean blow to the neck, cutting off its head. A hobgoblin kill counter immediately appears. This is the start of an additional quest. Also, due to the previously received killer rune, he increases his characteristics until the end of the entire round. Min thinks that going into the forest and leveling up was a good idea. But, as the hero knows, hobgoblins do not walk alone, so he prepares for a long battle. He sees many hobgoblins coming for his soul, thinking they can kill him. The hero smirks, knowing that they are no match for him and he will kill them all. He stands right in front of a horde of monsters that want to kill him. A horde of hobgoblins comes to the hero with the desire to simply kill him or avenge their fellow. The hobgoblin jumps at the hero, but he pierces his chest with one blow, killing him with that blow. Then he tears the stiletto out of his chest, tearing his flesh, causing additional terrible injuries. He cut down all the hobgoblins that attacked him without any problems. Wiping their blood from his face, he checked the timer. Only 30 minutes had passed, still plenty of time for hunting. The hero calls up the status window and sees that he has reached level 9, and his agility has gone beyond human capabilities. All the points he receives he puts back into dexterity. If he had a power rune, it would be more effective to put everything there. But it will be much worse. If you do not dodge fatal damage, you will not survive. All players have 4 stats: strength, agility, luck, and intelligence. Strength is responsible for damage, defense, and health, intelligence for magic and reaction speed, agility for speed and evasion, and luck is responsible for critical hit and the chance of dropping items and gold. Each of them is useful, especially for hybrid classes like Reaper. Reapers use both physical and magical attacks with the help of skills. They need to pump up all the characteristics at once. Suddenly, the hero is distracted by some noise behind him. He realized that a tail had formed behind him when he was carried away by the hunt, and did not notice them. In previous attempts, they had not followed him. Min says to come out from behind the ambush, otherwise they should pray. At first, there was no reaction from the forest, as if there was no one there. A man comes out from behind a tree, rustling fallen leaves. A girl, who is recognized as Rin, comes out from behind a tree responding in fear. Min is surprised that Rin followed him while she was apologizing for following him. A man comes out after her and also apologizes for following him. He says that they did not follow him out of evil intentions and hopes that the hero is not angry. It turns out to be An Sang-chul, which greatly surprises the hero. An Sang-chul is Ma Kyung-lok's right hand and close friend. Ma Kyung-lok is the eldest son of one of the largest companies in the country and also a player under the pseudonym Heavenly Demon. If the hero can lure him to his side, he will be able to accelerate his development, and that's not even the point. The main thing is to recruit the priest. What will happen to him in the 20th round? He didn't think he would meet Chul so quickly. It makes his plan a lot easier, but he's worried about something. Why is he with Rin? As he thinks back, it dawns on him that the bodyguard who walks with Rin is An Sang-chul. Min recalls that part of Locke's business is sponsoring celebrities. When did you start following me? The hero asks the couple, not liking that the events have changed again, unlike previous attempts. Let's start from the very beginning. I saw that you went into the forest and followed you, Rin says uncertainly and fearfully. She also asks for forgiveness for this. The hero asks why they followed him. What good will it do them? They followed him only because they wanted to offer him something. An offer? Min asks them. To which Rin replies that they saw him in the first place and want to start collaborating. The hero's expression didn't change much after her offer of cooperation. He grins and talks about how cooperation is a mutually beneficial relationship. Rin tries to answer him something, to which he immediately says that he doesn't need allies. He fights well alone, and they should leave. I have no intention of joining forces with you, Min said, turning and walking away from them. He walks away calmly and slowly, without even turning around to look at them. Chul is outraged by his behavior, how big the hero's ego is, that he refuses to cooperate. Rin suddenly falls to her knees out of a sense of hopelessness and fear. She says that he is number one for a reason. His pressure horrified her, to which Chul says that she is simply not used to standing in front of someone who points a gun at her. She wanted to team up with the hero, naively believing that he would agree, but everything did not go according to plan. The manager notes that he told her it wouldn't work because of the hero's inflated ego. He says that they wasted their time, and Rin points out that there are monsters in the forest and suggests hunting them. Chul agrees with her and they go hunting monsters. The depths of the forest are teeming with even more creatures than its outskirts. The hobgoblin walks through the forest and turns around in fear at a rustling sound. The hero flies out with an extremely sharp jerk. He is eager to tear apart the hobgoblin, who is frightened by the surprise. While punching the hobgoblin's chest, he thinks that he shouldn't offer cooperation now. He's busy with more important things, leveling up. In all this time, he was able to kill 60 hobgoblins and will be strengthened very well thanks to the killer rune. New enemies, different from the old ones and stronger, come out from behind the bushes towards the hero. A pack of gnolls comes upon Mina, having found their prey in him. He is surprised by the large number of gnolls around him. 5 gnolls at once? Looks like I'm lucky, says the hero, having found more valuable enemies for himself. The gnolls immediately decide to attack Min and tear him to pieces. In a jump, they all prepare to attack Ming, knock him down, and brutally kill him. The hero assumes a fighting stance, preparing his moves to destroy the gnolls. With a few extremely fast and powerful blows that pierce them right through, he cuts them down. The gnolls' remains fall, marking the hero's victory over them. All these gnolls gave enough experience to increase to the 10th level, and with this opened up the hero's class promotion. A system panel opens in front of Ryu Min with a notification from her. A side quest is created that requires obtaining a class promotion item, as well as a shop where gold can be exchanged. Usually players don't know how to get the promotion item and the conditions for getting it. To become a warrior, you need to increase your strength to 10 and kill 30 monsters in an hour. To be a berserker, you must hunt and fight until you bleed. To be an assassin, you need to kill monsters from behind many times. To get a class, you need to do something specific to that class, so Min used to attack from stealth and run into the forest and therefore got the hunter class. As soon as he learned about the reaper class, he began to choose only it. The hero uses angel blood, a promotion item, to obtain the reaper class. The system warns that the class can only be obtained once and cannot be changed. Without thinking, he accepts the offer and receives his reaper class. A golden light envelops Ming and the blood disappears, giving him strength. For acquiring the reaper class, the hero receives the reaper rune, which increases damage during the day, and at night also the attack speed, and when standing in the dark, the chance of detection drops significantly. The rune is immediately embedded into the hero's body to give its power to him. He also receives a class weapon, the Reaper's Scythe. His rank also changes to student, which immediately gives him more opportunities. There are 6 player ranks in total. These are Novice, Apprentice, Commoner, Expert, Master, and Grandmaster, with each new rank unlocking a class ability or special weapon. Now the hero knows the skill Death Mark, which is placed on the enemy, and after the hit inflicts all the damage of the attack again, and also displays the target's health. Reaper's Scythe has one feature. With each hit, the damage increases by 1 and so on up to 5 additional damage. If you don't raise your class, you'll never raise your rank, so it's better not to delay this. And since he was the very first player to receive a promotion, he receives a random gold bag. He also gets a neutral skill called Tracking, which allows you to detect a target if you know his face and also his name. Costs 20,000 gold. The hero is happy that he received an expensive skill, and he wants to test it, so he activates it. The target is Huang Young Min, out of curiosity to find out where he is. The skill has determined its location. It is 190 meters away from the hero and highlights the route to it. The hero is a little surprised that he also decided to go into the forest. Last year once he was 2 kilometers away from him, and he goes after Yang. Rin and Chul are running away from someone, tired from running, especially Rin. She trips and falls, hurting her leg. She can no longer run with such a leg, which she tells her bodyguard. He urges her to hurry because they can catch them. He tells her to run, even if it hurts. She tries, but the arrow wound in her body feels like it's burning. He has a theory that wounds don't carry over into real life. If they survive, there will be no wounds. She tries to walk along with his support, but someone suddenly calls out to them. They turn around in horror, realizing that their attackers have caught up with them. They were caught by Yang and his team, and they were chasing them all this time. Chul clenched his teeth in anger, so much so that their grinding could be heard. He mentally blames Rin for catching up to them, calling her a fool. He has no choice but to summon a dagger to fight them. Yan mocks the idea of Chul fighting the 4 of them alone. He points to his guys, saying that there are significantly more of them and there is no point in fighting. Chul screams, asking why they are torturing them, what they have done to them. Yan replies that they didn't do anything. Chul asks why they would do it then. They need something from this couple. Chul did not understand what they needed from them. This girl, says Yan about Rin, which shocks her. But they don't care about him. They only need Se Rin for their own purposes. The group discusses whether this is the real Se Rin or someone pretending to be her. Someone says that it is completely different, and they agree, causing her to feel disgusted with them. Yang offers Chul a deal. He calmly leaves Rin with them and just as calmly leaves without any problems. You should have told him right away that she was your target, he thinks, angry at them and at her. He would have calmly left her and run away. He is not going to sacrifice his life because of her. But the problem is different. If he does this, he will disappoint Ma Kyung-lok, and he cannot allow this, so he is preparing to protect her. Yang was somewhat glad that he had taken a stance and was now going to fight. You know that you are committing a crime by asking them in order to somehow bring them to their senses. Yang laughs hysterically at this question. He asks what kind of laws are here and what next. Will he write a statement against him? There is no evidence here, and the face may not be real, says Yang confidently. Chol doesn't want to agree, but he's right. Not thinking that he can persuade them, he's going to fight wounded. Suddenly, preparing for defense, he hears a suspicious sound. That's it, he exclaims in surprise, noticing someone familiar nearby. Yang turns in the same direction. Black braid? Chol exclaims without expecting it, looking at the hero, who is standing, leaning against a tree and watching everything that is happening. Yang can't figure out how he ended up here at all and whether he was here the whole time. What's going on here? Black Scythe asks them, curious about the situation. Yang immediately tells him to go his own way without disturbing them, to which the hero replies that he didn't ask him. Chul almost shouts that they attacked them because of Miss Rin, and he asks him for help, promising that he will not remain in debt. Yang clicked his tongue in displeasure, which drew Min's attention. The hero asks Yeon if this is true, but he simply dismisses him with words that it is none of his business. Min slowly approaches, blocking them with his body. I mean, it's not mine, I know these people, says the hero, calling on his weapon. Yang is horrified and asks what he is going to do. Min, having woven his weapon, holds it in his hand and says that he is saving the wounded. Yang doesn't like him meddling in things that aren't his business. The couple thanks the hero for helping them in the battle. In fact, it is in his interest to save them, and not out of the kindness of his heart. If he helps them, then Ma Kyung-lok will be very grateful to him. If such an important person is indebted to him, then it is worth all the costs of saving them. And besides, he simply doesn't like them. They, in turn, are scared. Yang, stumbling with fear, watches as the hero walks towards them. He threatens that if he takes another step, he will not live. The hero does not react to this threat in any way. He asks them if they wanted to fight with someone. Yang is scared because he saw what he does to all his enemies. He took first place in all regions, easily tearing apart goblins who would even want to fight him. Yang is scared by something the hero does. Min lowered his scythe heavily, making a heavy sound as it fell, and said that if they don't want to fight, let them tell him honestly. After remaining silent for a while, Yang asks if he will let them go. To this, the hero responds that he will simply think about it if he kneels and begs him for mercy. Yang understands that the hero wants to humiliate him in front of everyone. This proposal only makes him more angry. This humiliation will cost him more than anything. He would like to avoid the fight, but the hero irritates him too much to put up with it. He suddenly remembers that he can crush walls with his bare hands, and if he hits him well, he will knock him out. An idea, which he thinks is excellent, is born in his mind. "You're crossing the line, bastard," says Yang, confidently walking towards the hero. He is outraged that he has to get down on his knees and beg for mercy, and asks the hero if he is tired of living. Min himself stands, without trying to dodge in any way. Yang is going to quietly close the distance and give him a good punch. Even the black scythe wouldn't be able to survive this. Yang confidently thinks about it. If a brick wall crumbles, then a person cannot withstand it. Thinking about this, Yang goes and prepares a blow. The hero decided to scatter his braid, which greatly embarrasses Yang. "It would be unfair if I came at you unarmed and with a scythe. It would be too easy a victory," Min says directly. Yang is shocked by the hero's audacity in coming at him without a weapon. Abruptly, Min makes a quick jerk that his image blurs. Yang is shocked that he started attacking him. He sees the hero rushing towards him at full speed. "Stupid bastard!" He threw away his weapon and even stuck his head forward. Yang thinks as he hits the hero. "Die!" This word trembles in his mind, directing its blow precisely at the hero's head. Now he will hit the hero in the head and knock him out. Almost hitting him, Yang is surprised that the fist didn't hit its target and he was able to dodge it. He suddenly feels something hit him with great force. The hero, with all his strength and speed, hits the boy in the stomach with his knee, almost piercing it right through. From such a blow, Yang flies very far without the ability to stop in flight. Min stands calmly, not even standing on two legs, looking out to see where Yang flew off to. "Fucking bastard," Yang says, trying to breathe after the blow. Approaching Yang, Min tells him to stop swearing at him. "My ears are withering," said the hero, and kicked him in the face, throwing him back a little more. Yang groans in pain and holds his face, shaking with fear. Min grabs Yeon by the collar sharply and quickly. He hits him with powerful and very fast blows right in the face. Yang feels like he's being hit very quickly, like he's being hit with a hammer rather than a fist. He can't believe that he can have a power rune. Based on his blows, they are equal in strength. With a final blow, Min slams Yang's head into the ground, rendering him unconscious. Yang, lying down, sees the hero's contemptuous gaze on himself. Yang's group still decided to attack Min after beating up their leader. Rin warns the scythe about a shot from a bow aimed at him. Min ducks sharply, dodging the arrow fired at him. The archer continues to shoot at Ming, with a great desire to kill him. Min prepares to close in on the archer and neutralize him. He moves in a zigzag pattern, allowing him to dodge the archer's arrows. Min tells the archer that he was lucky to get a weapon from a monster while hunting. "But you were not lucky enough to meet me," he says, calling the scythe into his hands. A sharp and clean swing like a knife through butter cuts through flesh. The archer's hand flies to the side, causing him to go into shock from what he saw and the pain. He falls to his knees, clutching the stump of his arm. The others begin to threaten Min, fearing his strength. "You're dead, son of a bitch!" Yang's partner runs towards Min, screaming. "Are you sure?" Min asks him with a maniacal smile. It places a death mark on the runner for additional damage. The hero makes a wide swing to deal a strong blow to him. Raising his scythe above himself, he will strike with it as soon as the attacker runs closer. The one running towards him notices that his legs are being cut off. The mark additionally rips apart his legs below the knee. No longer able to walk or stand on his feet, he falls to the ground amid frightened screams. The last of the partners stands in horror seeing his friend's torn off legs. Min immediately takes off, rushing towards the last enemy. "Since you came at me with a weapon, then you believe that you have a chance," says the hero, approaching the frightened enemy. With one swing of his scythe, he cuts off his hand holding the dagger, and it falls to the ground. He screams in pain and shock as Min muses that death mark is a very useful skill. The enemies groan in pain and shock, not yet realizing what it was. Min reflects that it was too easy, and he's not going to end it there. That's not all he wanted to do with them. He wants to terrify them so that no one would dare to attempt to harm him. The archer's legs were additionally wounded so that he could not escape and knew how to attack him. He also wounded the man who was running with a knife in his right hand. A man in armor whose arm was cut off asks not to kill him. Clearing his scythe with a wave, he says that he will not die from such wounds and that he should stop whining. He breathes a sigh of relief and thinks that this is over. But there is another matter. He starts looking the other way, knowing who is there. "You understand that you can't hide from me," says the hero Yan, who hid in fear behind a tree. "I make no exceptions." Having said this, Min swings his scythe. He cuts off Yang's right arm, above the elbow, which was not completely covered by the tree. He screams in pain as he watches a fountain of blood pour out of the stump of his arm. Min contemptuously tells him not to whine like a girl whose boyfriend dumped her. Compared to what Yang and his guys did to him, it didn't hurt that much. As soon as he tried to escape, with a second precise swing, he cut off the second hand. Yang screams in pain again from his two missing arms as the couple looked at all the carnage he had caused. Chul noted that cutting off two hands of a helpless man, although cruel, was dictated by cold calculation, which he liked. At this point, the hero pierced Yang's legs to deprive him of any opportunity to attack. Chul thinks that Min may be competing with the company's president himself, and this worries him. Min approaches them and asks if they are okay, which brings Chul out of his thoughts. He says that everything is fine with them thanks to him. Min says they have nothing to fear now. It's hard for them to harm anyone now. The couple thanks him for saving them and helping them fight back. Rin immediately asks if the people he chopped up will die, knowing that they had just recently wanted to grab her. Min immediately says, "What difference does it make if they are like animals?" This made her feel uncomfortable. "She's too kind. She's like Mother Teresa," Min thinks, looking at her. He thinks she's just keeping up appearances, but Mina is immediately questioned. Chul wants to ask for something, and the hero is going to listen to them. He asks why they were spared, since nothing will happen here for killing them. As soon as Yan hears about this, he starts to panic very badly. "You ask why he didn't kill him?" Min says with interest, noting that he behaves as befits a right hand. "It's simple. It's simply not profitable for the hero to kill them. There's no benefit from it." Chul immediately says that they can attack him or bring other troubles. The hero draws attention to them. The look on the faces of the fallen shows fear of the hero who almost killed them. He says that this can't be, they wouldn't even think about it. Besides, there is another reason for this. If there are fewer players, then the number of those who pass will be limited. Chul immediately notes that this is very logical. The fewer survivors, the fewer places for the next tests. He was impressed by Min's understanding of the game, so he thought of it. Once everything is decided, the couple will no longer worry about them. The hero immediately starts to leave, but they ask him to stay. Chul offers him to give him an account number to transfer money to him in real life for saving him, but the hero refuses. Chul is surprised that the hero helped selflessly and does not need any reward. He will report everything to his president and tell about his kindness. Yong's moans attract his attention, and he has a great desire to finish them off. But he restrains himself because he believes that the hero is right. He spat on Yong that he couldn't even get up from his wounds, and then suggested to Rin that they leave here. She agreed, and they left. Meanwhile, there is a debate on the field about who will be the representative. One couple begins to fight for the title of representative, insulting each other. People are trying to separate the fighters, and they will kill each other. Someone, taking advantage of the situation, is trying to put himself forward as a candidate, saying that he is better than those who are fighting. One of the candidates says that his father is a member of Congress in reality, and therefore he should be made a representative. Others do not believe him. The conflict begins again, and they are abruptly stopped by an authoritative voice. Everyone immediately turns to look at him, looking at who said it. There are only 2 hours left until the voting ends. The man with the nickname Mint Min Cho claims, so they need to make a decision. Others ask him what ideas he has for the choice, to which he, in his charming voice, offers a solution. Everyone asks each other to be quiet to listen to Min Cho. He is glad that everyone is starting to listen to him unconditionally. After all, his rune of persuasion finally proved useful. From the very beginning, he was very disappointed that he received the rune of persuasion. It significantly increases verbal influence on entities capable of dialogue, but does not work on those of a higher level. It is extremely useless in combat, especially against non-speaking enemies. However, through cunning, he was able to put it into action because the goblins need to be killed somehow. He sees how everyone around him has almost finished off the goblins, and he needs more to survive. Min Cho uses a rune to persuade people to run to help the girl. The people, charmed by his speech, immediately rushed to help her, forgetting about the goblins. He immediately ran to those who were not finished off and finished them off himself, and thus was able to move on. If everything goes that easily, he will definitely become a representative. He immediately suggests ranking all the candidates to see who is in mind and narrowing the number down to 5. Because of the rune's effect, everyone agrees, admitting that it makes sense. Now he is asking them to nominate who they want to see as a representative. One of the people raises his hand, although he wants to put himself forward as a candidate. Min Cho adds that one should not put oneself forward, and he lowers his hand in displeasure. He is glad that he can instill in them anything, and they will believe it. People cannot choose who to nominate as candidates. As Min Cho thought, they don't know anyone, and will put forward anyone who manages to stand out. One of the people offers to nominate him as he expected. He begins to act surprised that they are talking about him, that he has leadership qualities. That person starts to prove that Min Cho is good at controlling the crowd and will be able to handle it. He immediately thanks them for their trust and that they trust him with the place, as another person immediately suggests exhibiting Black Scythe as well. Min Cho expected to be nominated. It would be strange if no one nominated him as a candidate. And then other people start nominating Life as a Documentary and Black Dragon in My Right Hand as candidates. Min Cho says there is one spot left and asks who else can be nominated, but the others remain silent. He says that since there are no more candidates, voting can begin. First, the candidates must begin their speech and he will be the first. He already thinks that he will become a representative when they tell him to shut up. He turns around to face the one who told him to shut up. It turned out to be Life Documentary, second place in the first task, very similar to a bandit. "I'm not going to listen to the rest of your nonsense," he says with great irritation. Min Cho asks what he is doing, to which he interrupts. Life Documentary says that Min thinks that everyone here is an idiot without exception. They will accept everything as the truth here. At first he was afraid that he understood his rune, but then he doubted it. "Who the hell are you to choose a representative, you fucking businessman?" says the bandit. Min tries to discipline him with the help of his rune and long speeches. He thinks it will work, but he is immediately interrupted. The bandit is indignant that Min will still scold him. He is surprised that the rune had no effect. The bandit immediately started telling them to start voting for him and forget about the others. Otherwise, he would kill them. "You're just impossible," Min Cho tells the bandit, driving him crazy. Min continues to talk about his unbearable character, trying to charm him with speech. The bandit is filled with rage and will soon lose control. He couldn't hold back any longer and tore out Min Cho's throat with his dagger. Min didn't expect his throat to be cut and tries to say something. He fails as he chokes on his own blood, and the bandit says that he warned him. Min lets out a death rattle and falls dead to the ground. The bandit said that if they didn't vote for him, he would cut them all down. People began to panic because of the fact of murder in front of them. Fresh blood from his victim's recent death drips from his blade. He offers to attack him if they have questions for him. People tell him he's crazy, they're afraid of him. "If you're not going to attack yourself, maybe I should start," he says, with anticipation of the massacre. In jerks from one person to another, the bandit kills them, without pity or regret. He is happy to simply massacre people because no one can stop him. He just kills people, even those who weren't close to him, for pleasure. The bandit orders everyone to vote for him, otherwise he will get them in the next round. People froze in horror at the carnage he had committed. The bandit is sure that now they will definitely vote for him because they are afraid. Once he becomes a representative, he will kill Black Scythe to become number 1. The Reaper's scythe swings tear apart the flesh of the hero's enemies with great ease. He killed so many of them that he had already reached level 16, but the further he went, the slower it went. In 2 hours, he raised only 6 levels and killed more than 200 monsters. It was very easy for him to hunt them, using the Reaper rune and the Killer rune. It's time for him to go, Min decides and lets go of his braid. She disappears from his hands, dissolving into golden light. The timer has finished counting and is transferred to the field to conduct a vote. All the players returned. One of them is Yong's group. Rin and Chul also returned, and everyone else began to look around. Those who returned look around and are horrified by what happened. The bandit stands among a pile of corpses of people he himself killed. While Rin is horrified by such an incident that took people's lives, Ryumin, "I'm not surprised by this, it happened before." The bandit is Cho Jun-sik, the leader of the Jun-sik gang and the second most powerful in the region. It is best to immediately neutralize such a person, he is like a bomb with a timer. But Min thinks that it is too early to do this now. He will need to do this later. Jun approaches the hero, saying that he has been waiting for him. Min, not understanding, asks Jun what he wants from him. He wants the hero to submit to him unconditionally. That is his proposal. "Submit to you?" the hero asked with contempt, knowing that he would suggest it. "Yes, then I will spare your life," Jun states, preparing to attack Ming. "So you want to fight me?" the hero asks seriously. He orders him to kneel down and beg for mercy. Then maybe he will remain whole. Jun immediately says that the hero is crazy and does not understand what is happening here. He says that if he becomes a representative, but he is interrupted by the hero, who says that Jun did not understand his words. The hero begins to summon his weapon to intimidate the bandit. "Or do you want to die here?" Ryumin asks him, holding his big braid. Jun was scared and surprised by the hero's weapon. He realized that he was chasing the wrong person. The hero asks the bandit why he is silent. Has he swallowed his tongue? Jun gritted his teeth as anger and fear surged through him. He immediately introduces himself as the leader of the gang and claims that he will not kneel. Jun provokes the hero to attack him, not daring to retreat. He only smirks at his provocation, knowing about his victory. But he doesn't want to kill him. It will create a lot of problems in the future. The hero wants to make him a representative and use him in the 3rd round. And also an angel should appear soon to start the voting. And as soon as he thought about it, she appeared. "You're a lucky guy," says the hero to Junu, who is confused by this outcome. Min recommends looking for better opponents if you don't want to die young. Jun just stands there in a stupor, trying to comprehend what just happened. He felt like he was almost having a stroke. Out of fear and in his thoughts, he said that he would regret it. The angel asked the people if they were able to choose a representative. She looked at the field and noticed that the people had killed each other. But she didn't care. She starts voting, as she said at the beginning of the round. All players now have a panel with instructions for voting. To vote, just look at the person you want and say your vote. Voting lasts 5 minutes, and if you don't vote, people will die. The voting timer has started and everyone only has 5 minutes. Everyone started looking for someone to vote for. Many people immediately began to look at Jun, as he wanted from the very beginning. He suddenly saw what had made him furious and confused. He addresses one player who was very frightened by his scream. Jun demands that everyone look at him and vote for him to become the representative. If they don't vote, he will kill them all and spare no one. Time is up, and the angel said that all the people will be able to survive and announces the results. She counts the votes and is interested in finding out who won. According to the voting results, Jun won, and Min came in second. Jun sees that he is in first place, but he only has 2,500. He looks at people with hatred because not everyone voted for him. The angel finally announces the results and says that Jun is now the region's representative. This was his goal, to gain unlimited power. She gives him the skill, Authority of the Commander, which will allow him to give orders to everyone around him. Jun was glad that he could order everyone to kill the hero and make him regret not killing Jun. Afterwards, he is surprised because his expectations were not met. The skill itself allows you to order, and the target will unconditionally execute it. It can only be used 10 times and on players without a class. Jun is shocked that a player with a class would be able to ignore an order. The angel says that this is not all that happened. She says that there was also an additional quest, the players didn't even know about it. An additional quest was class promotion. Many people don't know what the upgrade items are and where to find them. The angel says that such a window appears on the 10th level, but the humans didn't know about it. One of the people says that there are no monsters here and how can they level up? She says with irritation that the forest is teeming with monsters and that it was possible to level up there. Only 8,000 from all regions were able to receive the class now. In their region, only one was able to advance and everyone is interested in who it is. The angel invites everyone to look at the results and opens the table. In their region, only Min was able to advance in 39 minutes. People are shocked that he was the only one who got a class. Everyone turns to look at him. Everyone is still surprised that he is a Reaper. It suits his nickname so well. They don't know what class this is, but they think he's stylish and they understand why he has a braid. Jun already wanted to order Min to commit suicide to get rid of him, but he can't because of the restriction. The rank in the second round depends on the speed of completing the side quest. In their region, only Min managed to get a class. She is also surprised that he took first place in all regions. She congratulates him and asks why he chose such a nickname. "Did you know in advance that you would choose the Reaper class?" The angel asks curiously. He didn't know that he would get a class that suited his nickname. The angel says that it is his destiny to become a Reaper, and the hero agrees. Angels do not know the condition for receiving a class, only that it is a unique class. "Destiny, you mean?" The angel says curiously. She says that since he only received a class in the region, the representative will not influence him. People immediately ask how the commander's authority won't work on him. She tells them how the skill works and its limitations. People will understand how it works and won't be so afraid of it. Juna really doesn't like that the angel told everyone about his ability. The angel is going to give out a reward to the hero for getting the class first. The hero is given a coupon for low-ranking rare armor and a chest with a special reward. He has a choice of heavy warrior armor, leather hunter armor, and mage robe. Without thinking, he chooses the hunter's leather armor as his reward. Then he opens a special reward where there is information about the third round, 3,000 gold, and a triple experience buff. The hero knows that there are crowds of monsters on the third round, so he knows what he needs. He chooses the triple experience buff for the third round. The awards have already been distributed, and so everyone is returning home. Angel says the third round will be fun. She guarantees it to them, so they don't have to worry about it. On that note, with anticipation of the third round, she returns them. The next round will be on March 1st, and the people have been further reduced, although the battles were optional. A man, getting out of bed, stretches his hand upward. Yang wakes up screaming and sits up on the bed. He looks, his wounds were gone, his hands are in place. Realizing that his hands are back, he laughs nervously. He would never, ever get involved with the Black Scythe again. He had no desire to get involved with the heartless bastard. Chul praises Rin for doing a good job. She denies it, calming down after the round. She thanks him for his protection, not knowing that he could easily leave her if it weren't for work. He says it's his duty as a guard to protect her. Rin also wants to thank Black Scythe for saving him and asks if it's possible. Chul says that they don't know his real appearance and he doesn't want to give away his identity. Rin doesn't understand why. He replies that he refused to provide his account number and he refused immediately. So he knows that you can find out a person's identity using a number. She sighs sadly, not knowing that he lives next to her. Chul suggests finding him in the next round and giving him some item. She said it was a good idea and she would think of something to repay him with. He suggests they take a rest, she agrees and tells him to be careful. Chul is riding in the elevator to the underground parking lot and gets a call. He takes the call and gets a call from his president, Ma. Chul asks why Ma is not asleep yet, to which he receives the answer that he drank whiskey when he returned. Afterwards, he congratulates the president on his new class, the Dark Knight, and the president himself asks how he is doing. He says that they only reached level 8. They were unable to hunt because they were attacked in the middle of the round. The president is surprised by this. Chul was just about to tell the whole story about this incident and asked if it was convenient for him to listen to him now. The president asks if this is related to the Black Scythe. He wants to hear the story in person. Let him come to him now. Chul says he will be there in 20 minutes. While Chul gets into the car, he is followed to find out where he is going. He went to the company to see his president to tell him everything. Ryu Min was conducting surveillance. As expected, he is going to Ma Kyung Lok. 10 minutes after waking up, he wanted to follow someone. He uses the skill Tracking and targets Ah Sang Chul. The skill accepts the target and gives out its location. It is 9 meters away. He suddenly began to move away quickly. The distance was already 23 meters and continued to increase. The distance has increased even more and is now 56 meters. The hero assumes that he is going down in the elevator and he wonders where he is going so early. He assumes that he is going to see President Ma Kyung-lok. Deciding to check, he quickly got ready and headed to the parking lot. He was glad that he had managed to immediately look after him and moved on. The shadows block the moonlight, making it an ideal time for stalking. Locke stands and looks at the moon, which is covered by clouds. He reflects on how the hero is involved in the story of his subordinate. Locke sat down on the sofa with a glass of whiskey and went deeper into thought. He has a bad feeling about the hero. What can he do? Is it he who attacked his subordinate? If that's the case, he'll never let it go, messing with his right hand like messing with himself. No matter who or what is in front of him, he will not leave him alone, even if he is number one. There was a sharp knock on his door, which distracted him from his thoughts. This is Ah Sang Chul. The president allows him to enter his office. Locke is glad to see him, just as Chal is glad to see the president. Chal started with flattery right away, and the president accepted it calmly. He continued, and Locke said that he was still flattering well and told them to sit down for a conversation. Chal says that this is all the truth and congratulates him on his survival. Locke says it was extremely simple and there were no complications. Chan also wants to congratulate him on his promotion, but Locke says that he was just lucky, nothing more. Luck is also a skill that not everyone has, and taking second and third place in the region is not easy. For Chal, it is a source of pride to serve someone like the president. Locke already directly says that he flatters a lot and he definitely needs something. Tell me, you want to ask for something, right? The president asks Chong right away. So much flattery won't come for free. Chal nervously asks where he can get an item to get a class. The president replies that it is obtained from monsters during hunting, but in reality, he received his class thanks to the Dark Knight rune. At the beginning of the game, when they were all given random runes, he received this rune. It increases all characteristics and covers the weapon with a special aura, which deals damage and is also an item for class upgrade. The rune is immediately implanted into his body, making the fight much easier. He was just very lucky to get such a strong item early in the game. But he cannot tell even his closest subordinate, whom he treats like a family member, everything. He asks Chal about the incident that involved the Black Scythe. He asks who injured them and if it was the Black Scythe. Chal immediately began to deny it, and said that he, on the contrary, saved them from the attackers. Locke is surprised that they were saved by the Black Scythe and asks to tell him more. Chal recounted the entire story of what had happened to them and noted that he would have almost died if he had not come. Rin might have survived, but she would have been psychologically traumatized by the incident and would have been unable to work in the entertainment industry. Locke thought about it, because the hero saved him not only from losing an important employee, but also from the collapse of the business. He asks if the attackers were killed, to which he is told that they were beaten half to death, but left alive. Locke immediately asks why they didn't kill him. Chan says that Black Scythe said that there is no benefit from this, but only harm, due to the decrease in survivors, which will make survival more difficult in the future. The president believes that the hero is right, but who knows what the attackers will do in the future. Thanks to him, Locke's subordinate remained alive and the business did not collapse, which means he owes him. Locke says that he needs to be repaid, to which Chal says that he tried, but he refused. This worries the president, since the Black Scythe does not want to reveal his identity. He asks his right hand to convey gratitude and a reward to the hero. He promises that he will convey everything. He also asks to keep an eye on the Black Scythe so that he can help if needed, because he is not the one to remain in debt. Locke also remembered something and was going to ask his employee, who dared to attack them and almost kill them. Ryu Min followed and came to the building where Chal came. Min notes that as soon as he returned, he went to meet with his president, even though it was so late. Since he already understood where he had come, he decided to return. Otherwise, he would arouse suspicion. Luckily, the celebrity associated with Locke lives in the same house as him, and he was able to find out thanks to his brother's friendliness. If they hadn't gone to distribute rice cake to their neighbors, then they would never have met Arin and would never have found out that she was connected to Gyeonglok. If he can use his connections correctly, he can quickly win his trust. Thinking about this, he gets into a taxi that will take him home, but he is still not sure whether to take Locke into the group. The Dark Knight rune is too good, which is a cheat in the game, but it also has disadvantages, such as the lack of a bonus rune for obtaining a class. and you can only become a Dark Knight and a couple more disadvantages. But there is a minus that stands out among the other minuses, because to use class abilities you need Dark Mana, which is obtained by killing people. In a sense, this class is suitable for psychopaths and maniacs, because it is not a problem for them to accumulate Dark Mana, and Gion Locke is such a class. Min is worried about whether to take a psychopath into the team. As long as he is a candidate and as soon as possible, he will call him. There are still many talented people who can help him. Min wants to start work right after dawn so as not to waste time. Dawn came and the store opened again. The salesman sitting behind the counter doesn't know what to do in this situation. If everything goes on like this, revenue will fall and he will go bankrupt. Suddenly someone comes into his store. This is his daughter, Ju Li, who came to visit her father. When she arrives, she asks why he is sighing so loudly. The government stopped selling lottery tickets, came up with a good reason, probably because of the players. No one knows what kind of abilities they have, so they stopped selling them. Ju Li is upset by this news. Things were already tough for him, and now they are even worse. But his daughter immediately tries to cheer up her father. She will be graduating soon and will be helping him with his work. The father says that money is his concern, and hers is studying, to which she objects that it will be better for the family. He says that she is doing well in her studies after all. She wanted to go to college and study to become a doctor. She gave up her dream because in such a situation, school is not so important. He agrees. The money is needed, otherwise she will die in the third round. The father apologizes to his daughter for his not very good condition. She takes his hands and asks him not to apologize, because it is not his fault. Everything is fine with her. She survived 2 rounds and even got a class. Her father doesn't understand what a class is. She decides to use her ability on him. A pleasant green light envelops him, healing him. He asks what it was. She replies it was the Bless skill, which is a priest class skill. It slightly increases the player's stats and invigorates ordinary people. Father really did feel better. He feels more energetic. Julie says that he will use it on him constantly. She wants him to be more cheerful and not sad. In response, the father said that he would try not to be sad about the whole situation. A visitor arrives and the father greets him. It is Ryu Min, which shocks the seller. She whispers to her father who the visitor is and he replies that it is the winner. He took first place with 100 tickets, all with the same numbers. Min greets the seller and says that he might be remembered because he bought tickets worth 100,000 won. He remembers it very well and is curious why he came here again. Min, to begin with, wants to apologize to the seller. The seller himself, taken aback, asks why. The hero says that he saw the news and he didn't want to ruin his store because of the tickets. He apologizes for the unintentional damage to his store. The seller says that it is not his fault and there is no need to worry, they will not die of hunger. Still, Min doesn't like that they suffered because of his actions. So he wants to compensate them for their losses and hands them an envelope. There are 10 million won in there, which shocks the father and daughter. They abruptly refuse the money, but the hero insists, because it is his fault. And he immediately leaves, and his father tries to get him back, because he feels uncomfortable taking money. He can't accept such a sum, and Ju Li calls him over. She is going to run after the hero and return the money to him. Her father agrees. She quickly runs after the hero to make it in time. She asks him to stand still for at least a minute to return the money, and he stops.